Good morning from Maui. It's 7 a.m. It's a beautiful morning and we're here at my favorite place in Maui called the Pineapple Inn. Check this out, guys. Have you ever seen such a cute little pineapple? That's a pineapple, guys. And I also just learned the hard way that these things have super sharp spikes on them. Ouch. So some of you may know that I have the Sony A7 III. That's what I'm filming with right now. And I'm gonna be testing this camera out. The best way to figure out if a camera is really good for you is to actually take it out and use it in the way that you would normally use it. And for me, that's a lot of this kind of stuff, filming yourself, vlogging. Does it work for that? And then also that cinematic B-roll, 120 frames per second, all of that goodness. Can it handle that? That's the question. But the only way to really find that out is not by looking at specs, it's by actually taking it out and using it in a real world setting. A lot of times people, when they review cameras, they just kind of do these side-by-side comparisons and kind of these little test videos, but they're not really putting it to use. So I'm gonna try to vlog on this thing all day long. None of my other cameras, just this one. Well, actually also the Mavic Air because I'm doing a review on that one too. But I'm gonna be vlogging on this thing to see how it works for my kind of filmmaking style that I do right now. Then you start seeing all the pros and cons, and most importantly, whether it makes you hate or love the filmmaking process, because that is crucial. All right, let the vlog begin. Usually at this time of day I would go snorkel, but the conditions aren't too optimal. The swell is a little bit big, so I'm just gonna go swim. And for you sticklers, this camera is not waterproof. I am using my GoPro for these shots. All right, let's go swim. Fun fact, yesterday I was swimming right at this beach and there was a turtle literally like that far away from me. Massive turtle. Love this place. All right, I think it's time to do some body surfing. Let's get in position. All right, let's try to surf this one. All right, so to really put this thing to the test, I wanted to do something that I've never done before. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I really wanted to test the 120 frames per second on this camera because that's something that I like to use for B-roll. That's something that I use a lot. I rely on that for very specific reasons, which I could do a video about actually why I do B-roll in 120, but there's some specific reasons for that. So I'm really curious because this camera is tiny but can do 120 frames per second. But is it as good as the 1DX2? Let's find out. Oh, and also big thanks to Polaris Adventures and Aloha Motorsports for hooking this up. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Let's do it. I supposed to drive this thing now? Alright, well, that was fun. Thanks again to Polaris Adventures. If you didn't realize, that thing was called a slingshot. There's like 4 of them, I think, on Maui, the island. So that was super cool. Never experienced something like that. It's kind of like driving an adult go-kart. I think that sums it up pretty well. Also, very curious to see how the 120p slow motion is. Anyways, now I'm super hot, super tired. I think I know what to do next. On the run from my given disaster. Much better. Yeah, that was actually pretty fun. It was a good test of the camera. So far, I'm liking it a lot. It was the first time that I've really used it for cinematic B-roll, and I think it works pretty well. I gotta check out the footage still, so wait for the review video where I'm actually gonna talk about my findings. Fun fact also, I actually thought that this camera was broken because the LCD screen was black. Then I realized that I was just wearing polarized sunglasses, so it blacks out the screen. Yeah, if ever in the future you think, why is my camera all of a sudden not working or the LCD screen's broken? Just check that you're not wearing polarized sunglasses. Anyways, I'm gonna enjoy this now. Man, I love this place. Did I say that already? I love this place. Alright, even though this is a bit of a dud of a sunset, this is by far one of my favorite things to do on Maui. I just love sitting on the beach, watching the sunset. I've seen some of the most epic sunsets here actually, but this one wasn't that great. But sunsets are always great content for videos. That vlog life, right? Right? Alright, the day is almost done, but we got one more thing to do, and that's a good old-fashioned low-light test. We're gonna go 60 Mark II versus the Sony A7 III. I have a feeling I know who's gonna win this one, but let's see. Alright, and we're done. It's been a good day filming on the Sony A7 III and the Mavic Air, but we did have some issues. I'll get into that in the actual review. And like I said, this is the best way to figure out if a camera is good for you, is to actually put it to use. Use it for what you would use it for. So for me, filming myself, vlogging, that's what I use it for mostly, and also that cinematic B-roll, 120 frames per second. So that's really what I was testing out today. You guys got a bit of a glimpse of that, but I'll be doing a full review on this camera. I'll be posting it after this video, and then also a review on the Mavic Air. Definitely impressed by both of these, and a good sign is when you're not having to fight with the tools. Sometimes I have to fight with a camera, like the GH5, I was fighting with it, trying to make it work for me, and it just wasn't working. This camera, I had none of those issues. It worked really well. I wish it had the flip LCD screen, but other than that, pretty much everything worked just like it was supposed to. And even though this was my first day using it, I had no issues at all trying to figure out what the settings or menus or any of that stuff. It just worked really well. And even though this was my first day using this camera, it didn't feel like it was ruining the filmmaking experience for me. And if a tool, and especially a camera, is just ruining the filmmaking experience for me, then I gotta toss it out. I need something different. It doesn't matter what the specs are. If you're not enjoying the filmmaking experience, you need to toss it out. Find a tool that you can have fun with and just enjoy this filmmaking experience, because that's the most important thing. By the way, if you're interested, this shot is filmed at ISO 25,600. There's basically no light here, just a little bit coming from inside, but it's pretty dark out here. All right, it's time for me to go back inside and back to vacation mode. Later.